I'm really anxious, and I've just done the Italian video, so I'm feeling a bit better now because already 10 minutes of video are really allowing me to let go of this anxiety. And okay, I'm anxious for several reasons. I'm anxious because mainly, well, first of all, today I have realized that there is, I don't know how you call that, dandruff. Yeah, the dandruff that we know humans usually have. Well, the dogs, when the dogs have dandruff, it's a sign of stress. My friend Paula told me. She's a physiotherapist of Coco, of my dog Coco, and I've realized that both of them are stressed, and I'm sure that they are actually absorbing my own stress. So I've decided to go back to the daily videos and let go and work on this and think and transform these emotions into thoughts and actions, which is what SPEX does and what I'm doing with these videos, so as to work on this stress and use it, yeah? And use it to transform the world, because Georges Didier Huberman says that emotions, provided we transform them into thoughts and actions, are precisely what will change the world, what will allow us to change the world. So this is what I'm doing, and this energizes me, right, actually. Anyway, my anxiety comes mainly from the fact that I have already communicated that by the 30th of September I will be leaving this home of mine here in Switzerland, and I'm throwing stuff and getting rid of stuff, selling stuff and so on, but I still don't have the new home in Belgium, and I'm searching, but I still don't have it. And this thing leaves me, because our home is sort of the place for our identity. I am feeling without a home, although I still have this one, yeah, and I'm still using it. I still have my bed, I can sleep, I have a roof above my head, but I'm not going to have it. And it's sort of an anxiety for the future, the fear. It's the fear. First of all, the fear of not finding the right house, or not finding a house, and imagining that I have to leave with all my stuff and I have nowhere to go. This is the first, I mean, this reminds me of my past fears of ending up under the bridge, which is something that this fear, living in Switzerland, knowing that if I don't earn enough, Switzerland will help me, this fear is gone. But now that I'm going to Belgium, so I'm not in Switzerland, I know that this fear is going to come back, and it's actually coming back right now, thinking about not having yet a home to go to. And but also the fear is about the floods. I mean, these floods in Germany and in Belgium and in Luxembourg are precisely where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Belgium, and the area of the floods is sort of 50, 60 kilometers north of where I'm looking for the house. So it's not so far, and so the fear, and I think that this fear is a bigger fear. The floods are really, so it's something happening really close to us, and telling us that we are so little and that nature can just wipe us out completely, that you can't do anything with these loads of water, that, you know, it's just taking cars away. And so I was thinking I should just buy myself a little boat, you know, to, I don't know, it's like, it's crazy, because it's like we're not safe anywhere, yeah? And of course, I mean, this was clear, I think that since the Twin Towers, since 9/11, this was clear, that there's nowhere safe, yeah? And it's sort of a very bad thought of the white Europeans who think that Europe is safe and all the rest is dangerous. You know, it's just, it's not nice, you know, this thought. But anyway, it's a thought that has to do with the fact that this world is now changing very quickly, and the climate change is really making big damages, and the heat wave in Canada and in the States, it's you know, it's very clear that now things are really clear that climate change is you know, that nature is punishing us and is saying, hey, you rather stop, because if you don't, you know, we're going to wipe you out, you know. And of course the pandemic as well was for me a punishment, coming from wild animals saying, hey, you think that you humans are so powerful and that you can do everything you want? Wait and see, you know, we're going to wipe you out, or we're going to show you that we can actually wipe you out, you know, we little wild animals, you know. So it was a big message, and because this message hasn't been heard, hasn't been taken into account, then there is new messages that are telling us you can't do what you want, you know, you can't continue to destroy the planet, you know. And so of course there is the fear of thinking, where I'm going to go there to live where these floods have been happening. And I knew, I mean, before this week, before the floods this week, this area is at risk of floods already, because it has happened already. This area, it rains a lot. So I knew already that there was this risk of floods. But now, of course, it's more scary. And of course, I was thinking a house with a garden, and then I was thinking, well, a house with a garden on first floor is the first thing that will get, you know, flooded, you know. So I was thinking perhaps an apartment higher, but then, of course, water, if it's very strong, can just put down the house, and then you're in the middle of the rubble. So it's perhaps better to be able to swim. You know, thoughts like this. But I realize that I'm reading the newspapers on my phone in the apps every day, and perhaps even several times a day. I'm reading The Guardian, and I'm reading a Swiss newspaper. But newspapers are telling you only what goes wrong. And I remember once when I was a photographer for the press, it was the 90s, and I went to a magazine and proposed a feature on Muslim women in Bosnia who were doing a nice life, you know, and who were actually, because it's a matriarchal society, they had power, you know, so they weren't, it was those days, the 90s, in which, you know, it was the first time that Muslim women were, so in the news they were appearing as, you know, segregated, and, you know, so their rights were, so it was like, you know, me bringing this, I really wanted to find something opposite than what people say and what the news says. And they told me, well, what's the news here? There's nothing wrong. And I was saying, well, is the news something that, you know, do we need something wrong happening to be able to publish something? And she said, yes, this is the news, you know. And I was saying, well, there's something wrong here, because we think that going to see the news on TV or on a newspaper we want to see what's happening in the world. That's the main idea of wanting to see the news. Let's see what's happening in the world. But that's not true, because they're only, showing and publishing the bad news. And therefore, we unconsciously think that what's happening in the world is only the bad, whereas positive things are not news. So that's a very important thing to think about. What do you think about that? So I think, well, I have to stop reading the news. I really have to stop reading the news, because this thing of the news is giving us a sort of nihilism, like no hope, no hope. At the same time, it's very important that we care about the climate change, and we realize that the floods and the heat waves are due to the climate change, and that it seems like, it's like the pandemic, when I said on another video, the pandemic has been, has started by wild animals, and the wild animals of whom we have destroyed the habitat. And those wild animals are saying, hey, you humans, do you think that you're going to be, do you think you're so strong, you can do anything you want? Wait and see, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going to wipe you out. But this is something that I just said. I don't know if I said it on the Italian video or I'm repeating it. I think I'm repeating it, okay. Anyway, so again, we didn't hear that message, so now, and at the beginning, so I was thinking, okay, where am I going to live? Am I going to live, in this area? So I was afraid, but then I was saying, yes, it's there. I'm going to go there to live. Why? Because what I do, okay, the climate change is one thing, but then, of course, it's something that I've already said in another video, in a previous video. What I do, like many other practices, I'm not the only one, of course, is not on the news, because it's very positive, and therefore, my friend Paula was saying, you will see there will be something very positive coming out of this mess, because homeopathy started with the Spanish fever in the early 20th century. And therefore something fantastic started, from something terrible, from something. So there's going to be something positive. So SPEX, what I do, in a way, by stimulating us to look inside, to look at our shit as well, and find perhaps the diamonds, and share it, and look at it, and express it, and also find something completely different, because the artworks are expressing, the shit, but also the diamonds. So by doing that, we become more sensitive, we become more empathic towards others, we would become more focused on human needs and on the needs of the planet. That's already something. But moreover, this is another theory of mine, moreover, okay, if we don't express our emotions and let out our shit, so to speak, and we avoid the conflict at all costs. You imagine so many people avoiding their shit and their conflicts. So everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people are avoiding their shit. And so where does this shit and these conflicts go? To the collective unconscious, because we are united. It goes to the collective unconscious, and now the collective unconscious is absolutely packed with people's shit and avoided shit and conflicts. And what happens is that these shit and conflicts must come out somewhere, and it comes out exploding in these extreme events, in war, in famine, in heat waves, in floods as well. It's like it's the society of avoidance. So we have to do something about it. So, in fact, when I think, okay, I'm going to go to that place where the floods have been, or close by, of course I'm going to try and see and try to avoid going into perhaps a home, a house with a garden which is in a valley, you know, I'm going to avoid that, you know. But perhaps if I try to avoid that, then if I go to a mountain, then there will be the, you know, the mountain falling down. I don't know, you know, it's better not try to avoid anything. Anyway, I will go there because I have some work to do, which can, in my point of view, contribute to, you know, to address the climate change and try to, you know, to solve this and to make a better world and to save nature. So this is, and this, of course, calms my anxiety and gives me a purpose and makes me driven, which is what my being driven is what is driving me to move from here and to you know, to go where people have more enthusiasm from my work. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and this makes me feel better. But anyway, I'm, you know, for this anxiety, I've resumed recording videos every day to let go this shit, this anxiety, and share it with other people so that other people can mirror themselves and you know, they can use what I do and they can use these emotions and this shit.